So it finally happened. It finally is official. We talked about it last week on the channel, and it is official as of today. Giannis is officially a member of the Miami Heat. First off, let me say this. I want to thank the Miami Heat, and I want to thank the Milwaukee Bucks as well. But I want to thank them, both of those teams, for finally getting this deal done. Because if you guys remember my point in the last time we talked about the whole Giannis to the potentially to going to Miami thing, I said the most frustrating part, at least in my opinion, in this whole Giannis thing, I'm talking about from the time of him winning the championship till now, has been this whole rumor saga every single season about him reportedly getting traded to this team and that team and this team and that team. Every single year he's rumored to be getting traded somewhere. So I want to applaud the Milwaukee Bucks and the Miami Heat for finally just stopping the back and forth drama every single offseason and finally agreeing on a trade to actually move off of Giannis, pause, and actually get him out of Milwaukee. So now a trade has finally been done, so we can finally start, like I said, stop the rumors about him getting traded every single season and how he's going to this team and that team. He finally has landed on a very new team, and he's on a team with another star as well that he can partner up with, and I think he'll be on the Miami Heat for a very long time. Probably finishes his career there, to be honest with you, if maybe potentially, it depends on how things shape up. If not in Miami, probably back to Milwaukee, I would say, like a kind of farewell tour kind of thing. If at the end of his career, though, it won't be anytime soon. It'll be at the end of his career, and he's pretty much knows that this is the last year. I could picture him going back to Milwaukee, kind of like for that farewell tour, because like I said in the video before, Giannis has done, everything. Like, if you go check the Milwaukee Bucks franchise records, Giannis pretty much owns all of them. Like that's how much Giannis has done in his time of being a Milwaukee Buck. So it's been no shortage of success as far as him from an individual standpoint, and also from a team accomplishment standpoint as well. Like I said, he's NBA champion, Finals MVP, but also for him individually, he's done so much with the Milwaukee Bucks over his career. And I think if he does end his career on a team not with the Miami Heat, I think it probably will be in Miami. But if not, I could see it probably being like one last season in Milwaukee, kind of like a farewell tour kind of thing. But either way, I want to give props once again to the Milwaukee Bucks and Miami Heat for finally getting this trade done. Finally, we can stop these rumors and stop the trade drama every single season. I'm so happy for that. And I want to also give a huge shout out to Giannis in this, because like I said, I felt like he got undeserved placement, if you will, in these trade rumors and in this trade drama, just because the Milwaukee Bucks were not the best, if you will. They weren't the best over these last couple seasons, so I feel like Giannis kind of just got thrown into the fire every single year as far as being traded, even though he did say he wanted to compete multiple times. But just because the team is bad don't mean they need to trade their main star. But I am happy that Giannis is finally on a team to where he will no longer have to worry about that, because I feel like now that he's on Miami, like I said, I feel like he'll be there for an extensive period. I don't feel like he'll be traded anytime soon or moved anytime soon. I feel like he will be there, if not to finish out his career, it will be the only other team, in my personal opinion, the only other team that he ever plays for outside of Milwaukee. That's just my personal opinion. I don't feel like he goes anywhere else. Don't feel like he plays anywhere else. Obviously, than the Olympic Games, but other than that, I don't feel like he goes anywhere else through his career. He's just not that kind of player. Like, Giannis isn't one of those players that like goes to 6 different teams. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I feel like he's just not one of those players. I feel like he'll be on maybe 1, maybe 2 teams throughout the course of his career. Like I said, maybe back to Milwaukee for one last season. But I'm just so proud for Giannis and so happy for Bam to finally have a star. Now, he played with Jimmy Butler, but he's played with no star on the level of Giannis Antetokounmpo to play with, pause. So I'm just so happy for both of them in this whole thing. And for Milwaukee, too, they get to rebuild their organization like they want to now. The trade shaped up like this. I'll read the trade for you guys so you guys understand. Miami managed to get Giannis Antetokounmpo. They also got Bobby Portis in the deal as well, which is actually a nice piece. I was actually surprised they actually managed to get Bobby Portis as well. So he's no slouch. So that was a nice get as well. Now Milwaukee got Tyler Hero, Kel'el Ware, Jamie Hawkins Jr., Kasparas. I'm not even gonna try to say that last name. I'll just say KJ because I don't want to butcher your last name. So in respect to you, I just won't say it. I'll just say KJ Kasparas. I'll just say that. You know who I'm talking about. The number 13 pick in this year's draft, 3 first-round picks, and a 2030 pick swap, and a 2033 second rounder. So that's how the deal ended up shaping up. And like I said, Miami managed to get Giannis and Bobby Portis in the deal as well. So just I feel like an equal fair compensation deal for what both teams are trying to do. Like I explained in the video before, Milwaukee, it wasn't going to get equal compensation for Giannis. That's foolish to even think that they were going to get that. You're never going to get equal compensation for a person like Giannis. Like when it gets to those type players, it's very difficult for you to get equal compensation. If you get equal compensation for like a Giannis, that's like once in a lifetime, twice in a lifetime. Like you don't get those trades too often. Number one, because you got to think the team that's trying to trade for a Giannis probably doesn't have a Giannis on their team. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it doesn't shape up well for you to get equal compensation back for a Giannis. Now, what you do get is what the Bucks got. You get fair compensation for what you're trying to do. The Bucks have fair compensation for what they're trying to do. They're trying to rebuild their team how they want to around another star, a future star that they're going to hopefully draft or bring in another star, maybe via free agency or whatever. They're trying to build their team how they want to past Giannis. So you're trying to rebuild. So for that, they got fair compensation. They got some good role players that they probably will look to flip and try to get some more picks out of. Or if not, they'll be perfect for like the rebuild phase. Like they'll be perfect around the newer, younger star that they'll get. Or maybe the young star that they get off free agency or something. Those role players will fill the void, or not fill the void, but they'll fill the role of quality role players and actually having solid rotation players on their team. They weren't going to get equal compensation for Giannis. The star in this deal was 100% Giannis Antetokounmpo. That was hands down already decided. But for what the Bucks want to do, they got fair compensation. They got some good role players to surround the future star with so they can rebuild their team. And like I said, if they want to, they can even flip some of those players like Tyler Hero. He's a perfect example. They can flip him for more picks in the future. So it works out in their favor as well for what they want to do. Like I said, it's not equal compensation to Giannis. They were never going to get fair compensation for Giannis. So it's probably the best deal that they managed to get the role players involved. Now I know on the table potentially was a Jaylen Brown deal to the Celtics, so that would have been kind of interesting to see how that shaped up. But as a Lakers fan, let me say this: I am so happy that did not happen because as a Lakers fan, us and the Celtics don't get along. So I am ecstatic today that the Celtics managed to not get Giannis Antetokounmpo, and they still have Jaylen Brown, who's a very good player. But them having Jason Tatum and Giannis would be, come on now, like that's getting very close to that level of being unfair. So I'm happy that didn't happen. But that was also rumored to be on the table, but that didn't happen. It managed to go to Miami, which is what Giannis wanted this whole process. Giannis, this whole trade saga, rumor phase and all of that. Every single step of the way, Giannis has emphasized that he wanted Miami. So the fact he actually got to go to where he wanted to go, that's already a blessing because a lot of players don't get that to happen. It's not even just because the team's trying to be spiteful or, oh, no, we're not going to send you to where you want to go. What it is a lot of the times, like I said, I can't talk today. Anyway, what it is a lot of the times is the other team that they want to go to, like that the player wants to go to, they don't have, what the players don't realize sometimes is they'll say, I'm just throwing out a team. I want to go to the Dallas Mavericks, right? But what they don't realize is the Dallas Mavericks don't have the pieces necessary to get your current team to say yes to a trade to get you to the Dallas Mavericks. So that's why a lot of players don't get traded to the team that they want to, because players naturally and understandably so, they just want to go to where they want to go to, right? Like I said, Dallas. Give me to the Dallas Mavericks. I don't care what you got to do. Give me to the Dallas Mavericks. But what players I feel like overlook sometimes is that also your current team has to feel like that getting like they're not getting just robbed for you. Like they're not getting taken advantage of. And what a lot of trades shape into sometimes is the other team getting taken advantage of, because if I'm a player averaging 26 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists, you wouldn't trade me or feel like you're getting equal compensation for me if you're getting a player coming off the bench averaging 10 points and 5 rebounds off the bench. That's not equal compensation. So the likelihood of you doing that is very unlikely, because you don't even feel like you're getting near even fair compensation for the player. So that's why a lot of times players don't get to go where they want to go. Giannis in this situation is fortunate and blessed in this situation because he got to go to where he wanted to go. He's been campaigning to go to Miami. He got to Miami, and now he gets to pair up with Bam Adebayo. Bam, 83 points Adebayo, and I feel like for the Miami Heat, this will be a great thing for their culture, their history, and just everything that they have going for them. Because let's address the elephant in the room. If you haven't heard, you're about to find out. Miami is if you've heard about the Heat culture, that's because the Heat culture is real. The Heat are a very work ethic heavy team. All right, their practices are brutal. Their work ethic is off the charts. When they go to practice, they go to practice. They don't go, you know how some teams, and no offense to any team out there, but you know how some teams, they have, they go to practice, and NBA players have talked about this. Some teams' practices are shoot-arounds. And it like no flack on any team. It's just that's some teams' practices. Some teams' practices are just simply shoot-arounds and, getting into the flow of the game. And, we're going to shoot a couple shots. We're going to run through a couple plays. That's the end of practice. Not in Miami. Not in Miami. The Heat culture is real. You go to practice in Miami, you go to practice in Miami. Okay, ain't no light day. No. You go to practice. Quick story, Andre Iguodala, just to let you guys know how how serious the the Heat culture is and how quick you need to get used to it. Andre Iguodala went to Miami. And if you don't know who that is, he's a veteran who happens to be a 4-time NBA champion. Okay, 4-time NBA champion with the Golden State Warriors. Okay, just a absolute veteran, just a straight professional at what he does. He's that veteran presence that everyone wants to have in their locker room. Right, great player, and he managed to go to Miami in his career. And he said that when he gets to Miami, they start giving him his training equipment, right? Okay, this is what you're going to need for practice and everything. They gave him knee pads, pause. And, his first instinct was, I don't wear knee pads, pause. And to his point, he was telling the truth. Andre Iguodala throughout the course of his career has always been more of a compression pants, like a compression pants guy, which I wear compression pants too. I just feel like they're more comfortable, than wearing knee pads, pause, just me personally. So he was like, I don't need knee pads, pause. So the training staff told him, oh no, these are for practice. Like they straight up, oh no, this is for practice. Trust me, you gonna need them. But, but he decided to not use them. And after the first practice, he had some knee pads on, pause, because it's practicing in Miami, that Heat culture, that Heat work ethic is just that serious. And I feel like the perfect star that understands that can actually commit themselves to that is one, a star they already had, who was Jimmy Butler, which I feel like he fit perfectly in Miami because he, once again, has that mentality. So he fit perfect in Miami. And the other star that I would recommend is the star that they now have, Giannis Antetokounmpo, because Giannis is a straight-up workaholic. Look at from where Giannis started in his career. Giannis came into the NBA as a scrawny, tall, lanky kid. That's what he came to the NBA as. And he turned into, let's just call a spade, a jacked like monster physique pause, and just monster of a NBA player that just drives to the rim with will, that like plays his game no matter what, to the point to where his kind of, I guess you would say, mentality when he's playing is, I'm going to get to the rim regardless. That's what from the outside looking in, that's how I kind of feel like Giannis is thinking at all times. I can get to the rim no matter what, like no matter who's guarding me or whatever, I can get to the rim and get my shot. Just think how much work it took for him to get there. So he has the work ethic, he has the grind, he has the hustle, he has the passion to actually flourish in Miami. And along with Bam Adebayo, once again, Bam 83 points Adebayo, who gives me equally the same work ethic vibes, gives me the same aura as far as not being able to hustle, the passion, the work ethic, the drive. He gives me that same aura that Giannis gives me. So I feel like them pairing up on a team together is going to be crazy. And like I said in the video before, having both of those players, when free agency opens up, do you know how many shooters are going to be begging, campaigning, telling their agent, hey, get me to Miami? Because do you know how many open shots that's going to be, bruh? Because you got to guard Bam Adebayo, you got to guard Giannis Antetokounmpo. You have to stop them from going to the paint every single time. And if you do manage to stop them, say you sell out on defense and you manage to stop them from getting to the paint, great, that's wonderful. Props to you. However, you got to deal with all of that. Plus, all they got to do is kick it out to the three-point line that's wide open, because once again, your defense sold out to make sure that Bam Adebayo and Giannis couldn't get to the paint. So now that your defense sold out, all the three-point shooters wide open. Pause. Just ready to fire. They just ready to fire. So it's going to be so many shooters, so many, three-point snipers that's just campaigning, begging to go to the Miami Heat, telling their agent, get me to the Miami Heat, because the opportunity to get paid, to get that bread, to get that bag, to get that money on, because y'all already know if it ain't no money on, it ain't no fun on. All right, and then that ain't going to get it done on. So it's going to be so many people just trying to go to Miami, so many shooters, three-point snipers trying to go to Miami to just try to cash in on that payday that's not going to come this season, but it's going to come next season, because if they can help Bam Adebayo and Giannis make a deep run in the playoffs, or even manage, dare I say, to manage win an NBA championship, that's not out of the question now. So if they can help that and actually make that happen for Miami, help them win an NBA championship or a deep run to the playoffs or the Eastern Conference Finals, whatever. If they can help that team, if they can help Giannis and Bam, other teams will pay them for their services next year. So they're going to be trying to cash in on that money next year by trying to get to Miami and actually secure the bag this year. So it's just going to work out so well for Miami, in my personal opinion, because it's so many benefits of having Giannis and Bam on the same team. Not only for them, but also just for the players around them. Like, for the players around, it's going to be so crazy. Just to let you guys know, and if there's any doubt, because I heard this a couple weeks ago that Giannis is kind of falling off, if you will. Just to let you guys know, there's been no falling off for Giannis. Giannis last season averaged 27.6 points, 9.8 rebounds, 5.4 assists, and that was in 28.9 minutes per game. Shot 62.4% from the field, and His career regular season, if you want to know that, is 24.1 points a game, 9.9 rebounds a game, and five assists a game. So he hasn't really fallen off. If anything, he's just keeping up with his pace throughout the course of his career. So it's no concern for me as far as in the area of falling off or Giannis, and eventually which everyone does, but eventually I'm sure Giannis will start to taper off a little bit as he gets older. That's naturally happens though. That's nothing about Giannis or anything like that or the way he plays the game. That's just natural. When you get older, your game naturally starts to kind of taper off and you kind of got to learn how to do other things. That's why I think later in his career, I feel like Giannis will develop more of a three-point shot because he will start to, figure out that a way to savor his game and a way to savor his career, much like LeBron has done, is to learn how to shoot the three-point. Well, he already knows how to shoot the three-pointer. It's not that. He knows how to shoot the three-pointer. If you want to know, he shot, make sure I get this right, last season he shot 33.3% from the three-point line, which isn't great by any means. It definitely isn't the best. But he is able to make three-point shots, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. But I feel like later in his career, he will rely on his three-point shooting more so than he ever has in his career prior. When he gets older and actually stops driving to the rim as much, he'll start to shoot more threes. That's just kind of like how LeBron has done throughout the course of his career. LeBron got more efficient at threes later in his career, so because he found out that he doesn't have to drive as much or go to the paint as much if he just can use his opportunity to shoot the three more than anything. That can savor his game and actually save him, because he can save driving to the paint and getting to the rim. He can save that for later in the game or later in the playoffs or later when the team actually needs it, instead of just trying to do it in the regular season game. That's what LeBron pretty much picked up on, in my opinion. So I feel like Giannis will do the same thing. And speaking of LeBron, it's funny to me that I was thinking about this. 16 years ago, the super team in Miami was put together. LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. It was also supposed to be Carmelo Anthony in Chris Bosh's place, from what I hear, but that's a topic for a different day. It was Chris Bosh, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Bosh, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade. That was the big three of Miami. And it's just funny to me that 16 years later, Miami has another, dare I say, super team in Giannis and Bam Adebayo. It's going to be so interesting to me to figure out how this works out. I expect it to be a couple bumps in the road early in the season, and that's no flack on Bam or Giannis, but it's just going to take some time for them to figure out how each other plays, how where they like to receive the basketball, how they like to play, as far as do they like to post up more, do they want the basketball just straight up, do they want it at the 3-point line and then drive? So they're going to have to figure those different things out. What sets do they like? What plays do they like to run? That whole thing, that whole figuring out process. So there's going to be some bumps in the road to figure out early in the season, I expect. But I don't expect it to be an extensive process. I expect them to actually figure it out pretty quickly. And I actually expect them to actually start rolling in the season really fast. Maybe 2 weeks into the season, I feel like they should be pretty good, honestly. 2 weeks, maybe 3 into the season, I feel like they should have their rhythm and have their chemistry down, because I don't feel like it'll take much for them to learn how to have that chemistry and actually be able to play their games alongside each other. I don't feel like it'll take long for them to be able to do that, especially like I say with that Heat culture and as far as practicing and everything. I don't think it'll be that long of a process at all. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how it shapes up. As we just talked about this last week, it's crazy to see it happen this week. I didn't expect it this soon, but I knew if it was going to happen, it was going to happen quite quickly. So I'm happy to see it go down. I can't wait to see how it shapes up. Like I said, I'm excited potentially for the Eastern Conference Finals matchup of the Knicks going against the Miami Heat. I can't wait to see how that shapes up. I pray to the basketball gods that Eastern Conference Finals matchup, because I know it's gonna be absolute cinema. Jalen Brunson and his squad versus Giannis and Bam, and it's gonna be a movie. So I can't wait. So Giannis is a member of the Miami Heat, man. Let me know what you feel about this trade in the comments below. You like it? Do you hate it? Why and why not? Like I said, I love this trade, man, so I can't wait to see how it shapes up, man. Giannis is a member of the Miami Heat 16 years later from the big three of Miami, featuring LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade, man. Whew, it's crazy. It's going to be interesting, man. Get your popcorn ready.